I think of it almost like a new season, clean slate. Kind of, what happened in the regular season doesn't really matter, performance-wise, whether it's good or bad. But as far as just maintaining the consistency, it's just going out there and executing what I do on the mound and control what I can control, and let Austin or Ben or JC, whoever's behind the plate, just run the game plan and let everything else take care of itself. When you look at the Red Sox, what do you see as the biggest challenge when you look at that lineup? Yeah, no, they're a good club. Obviously, they played us hard this year. I think they won. I'm not sure how many games they won against us, but they did better than we did against them. So they play well. They play good baseball. They're really athletic. They make some plays out there in the field that a lot of teams don't make. They're quick on the bases. They have an idea. They do their homework with pitchers as far as when to run and what counts to run on and what are the tendencies. Offensively, there's some good bats in the lineup. Seems like they run two different lineups, versus left-handed starters versus right-handed starters, and they have tough at bats. So it's a good it's a good ball club. So it's gonna be a good series.
I'm gonna go stay there, Bruce.
Carlos, what does it mean to you to get this opportunity, this responsibility in Game 2?
Yeah, 3-game series. It's high stakes for sure. So, obviously, I'm just honored to have the opportunity to pitch for the Yankees in an important series. And the goal is to go out there and win and give my best effort. So I can only control so much. So.
Okay, down here in the first row, Pete.
Carlos, Aaron just mentioned how going through the postseason run last year and doing it with the New York team thinks it benefited you. Just how do you think it did, if so, and what are you taking from it?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some experience from last year. Getting to the World Series, pitching in some in those big games, a lot of energy. It was against a good Dodgers team, so I learned a lot about staying within myself and just trying to keep everything in check. So hopefully I can keep that going for this year.
Stay here in the front, Chris.
Throughout the year, Matt Blake has complimented you in your ability to better control your emotions this year. Was that something that you were conscious of coming into the year, and who has helped you with that?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of help with that. I think pitching in some big games last year, and obviously pitching in the World Series, it's hard to replicate that, especially during the regular season. Obviously, those games are very important during the regular season, but the hype, the energy is not quite like Game 2 of the World Series or Game 1 of the LCS or any of those games in the postseason. So, I'm glad I learned fairly quick last year that things needed to be in check and save that energy for some extra innings down the road. So, I've had a lot of help. I mean, obviously Andy Pettit's been around a lot. I've got great teammates who have my back and helped me get me to where I'm at now. So there's a lot of people that have had a hand in that.
In the middle over there, Rod.
Was there anyone specifically you spoke to after the start against the Royals? Because you spoke about this change in your attitude and just the focus and not getting too amped up.
Yeah, I mean, Andy was a big take in that. Obviously, a guy was notoriously great in the postseason. Obviously, Garrett's been a big guy in my corner, and just those two after that start, got my mind where it needed to be.
Okay, we're going to go back to Jay on the left.
Yeah. Carlos, you added a sinker to your repertoire for the first time in a few years, and it was a very effective pitch for you in terms of not just ground balls, but also whiffs. How is that pitch different for you than it's been before, and what has that meant to your success this year?
Yeah, I came in in the league. I had, I guess, what you called a two-seamer, and back then, we didn't quite have the movement plots that we do now, and understanding pitch movement and pitch profiles the way we do now. So it was slightly a different pitch, and the grip was slightly different. And you know, I had an idea of how to throw what you call a sinker two-seamer from throwing it, I guess, 8-9 years ago. It's been a little bit, but you know, we just stumbled upon it, and you know, the Yankees pitching department kind of refined it and got their grip what I needed. You know, Matt Blake had a hand in that. Preston, a lot of guys had a hand in that, and we just kind of ran with it.
Okay, we're going to stay on the left in the middle. Nate.
Carlos, you've had the opportunity numerous times this season to watch Max pitch and then go out, you know, either the next night or a couple nights later and face the same team. How has that benefited you? And, you know, what are you kind of going to be looking for tonight as he goes out there that you could take with you tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, Max has been incredible for us this year, as you know. I just kind of get a little bit of a game plan. We're slightly different. You know, we're not exactly the same. I just get an idea of, you know, how hitters are reacting to him and an approach. But it's not, you know, it's not everything, because, you know, their approach can be a little different for him than it is for me. So I just get an idea of, you know, swing tendencies and aggressiveness kind of.
That's it. We're going to stay here on the left in the first row.
Carlos, you pitched to more. All right. You pitched to more weak contact this season than ever before. At what point did it click for you that that was something you were going to embrace or needed to embrace?
I'm not sure. You know, I know the strikeouts down a little bit, and just knowing that I just want to be aggressive in the zone, and you know, we're pretty athletic in the field, and guys get to some balls that, like I said, you know, obviously I talked about the Red Sox being able to get some balls. We get to some balls that teams don't get to as well, and you know, it was just be aggressive in the zone, and with the help of the sinker, with some, you know, weak contact on the ground. You know, I feel like what we talked about, I feel like we're going to forward some contact and rely on the defense and, you know, save the pitch count.
I take one more way in the back on the right.
Carlos in the back. Earlier you talked about how the Red Sox, you know, shift their lineup between facing left-handers and right-handers. Do you feel like they're unique in that sense across the bigs, where they can do damage, you know, regardless of the starting pitcher, and they kind of use that platoon maybe more so than others?
Yeah, there's a few teams that do it. I guess their uniqueness is the guys that they can deploy on both sides of that, like you said, can do damage. They have bats that, you know, can hit lefties and slug, and they have bats that can hit righties and slug. So yeah, that would be the uniqueness for them, because, you know, there's some teams, not, you know, and anybody that makes it in this league is pretty good at baseball, but, you know, there's some teams that, you know, they don't reach the caliber that the Boston Red Sox do on the platoon side.